and welcome to the Made by Mumino podcast, the first episode. So my name is Kathryn and you can find me here on YouTube as Made by Mumino, on Ravelry as Mumino, and on Instagram as Mumino. So yes, I thought I would have a go at making a knitting podcast. Well, a fibre podcast, I suppose. Primarily knitting, although I have just started this first tentative steps into spinning as well. So we shall see. We might be covering a little bit of spinning as well. But as I said, I've literally just opened a box with a spindle in it. So it's early days at this point. It's going to be a knitting podcast. So a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Kathryn. And I am a Welsh person who lives in the western side of Germany, so over near the Dutch border in a place called München-Gladbach, which is, I've lived here for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years, I'm not sure, but it took me a good couple of years to pluck up the courage to say the name of the place that I lived. It's most people would kind of, I suppose if you were going to pronounce it phonetically, it would be Mönchengladbach, which is just horrible now that I know how to pronounce it. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of near Düsseldorf. So if you know that part of Germany at all, but I live here with my partner, who is not German, he's Greek. But he was born here, so I live in this part of Germany. And I do a lot of knitting. I usually bake, but whatever I'm doing, I've usually got some knitting with me. I think our friends found it quite funny to start off with, that wherever we went, I would just produce this little bag of socks or dishcloth or something that I was working on. But I think they're quite used to it now, and they kind of, if I don't have it, they're curious as to why I don't. So yeah, but no, I just find it really, really soothing, really relaxing. It feels like it's productive, so it feels like I'm achieving something in a small way, even when I'm sitting around not really doing very much in another situation. But yeah, as a result of that, I tend to have 3 projects on the go at any one time. So one I would class as in the car knitting. Sort of, I don't know, I can sit in a cafe or sit and chat to people without having to concentrate very much. One is something a little bit more engaging, so maybe something with some lace work or some colour work or something like that. And then the third would just be, I'm really tired and I need to do stockinette and just going round and round in circles. So yeah, that's usually what I've got on the needles at any one time. Yeah, so I've been kind of knitting seriously for probably about 3 years now. My grandmother, who's sadly no longer with us, taught me to knit when I was really little. And looking back, I used to make these little squares with my sister, and my nana must have gone back every evening and corrected all of our work and sorted it out for us, because looking back, they were all different sizes, the gauges all over the place, but we really enjoyed doing it, and that's what mattered. But my grandmother was a prolific crocheter. Every member of the family had at least one granny square blanket that she'd made for us out of, bog standard acrylic yarn, chuck it in the washing machine, happy days. Crocheted blanket that we used to take camping. They used to get chucked in the back of the car, shoved to the bottom of the bed, underneath the bed, really abused. But yeah, we all had a blanket from Nana. My mum is also quite a prolific knitter. She used to make us a lot of garments when me and my brothers and sisters were little, and the typical intarsia, like kids jumpers with Postman Pat and stuff like that on them, and yeah, but all knitted in the flat. It was only like more recently, when now I've come back to knitting and my mum's come back to knitting properly as well, that we kind of mainly follow more modern patterns which are knit in the round, which makes life a lot easier. But anyway, so yeah, I love knitting jumpers, sweaters, whatever you want to call them. They are my go-to. I knit a lot of sweaters. I must apologise, this is my first time kind of filming myself. I talk in front of groups of people a lot. I'm a teacher, well, I work in a local university, and I talk to people in front of a whole class of people constantly, and all through you know, lockdown and the COVID and everything. Obviously I was teaching online and you're kind of talking more into a void, but it's totally different when you sit in front of a camera filming yourself with nobody watching. It's very, very bizarre. But anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, I love knitting jumpers. I really enjoy doing test knits, and if a test knit for a jumper pops up on my feed, I usually apply for it, because I find that I'm very challenge orientated and very deadline orientated. So I love test knits where I'm learning a new skill, or I have to do something I'm not really comfortable with. Like the first ever colour work jumper I did was what was it called? The Nefelli for Isabel Kraemer. First colour work I ever did. And yeah, it took me a while to get the tension good right, and so that I was happy with it. But yeah, I was really pleased when I'd finished it. So no, I really enjoy doing test knits. And I'm doing, I think, one test knit at the moment, which I'll come on to in a bit. So if I talk about any patterns, or if I talk about any particular yarn or test knits or cals or make-alongs, anything like that, I will reference it underneath in the box. And if you can't find some information that I've mentioned, please do let me know down in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. So yeah, so I'm going to just do a traditional podcasty format, and I'm going to go through my finished objects. So I'm wearing a finished object right now. This is the Field Day cardigan from Ozetta, and I've made this using 4-ply British wool cones. I think the colour for this one was oatmeal, and I actually cast it on last year, so in April 2023, knit on it and got it really far along for about a month or so, and then it got really hot, so I just put it away and pulled it out a few weeks ago to get knitting on it again, because Casey over at Young Folk Knits is running a wool along, or a make along, in conjunction with Woolly Knit, and it's their usual kind of British wool make along that they often do. I think they usually do it like once a year, and there's a discount code and all that kind of thing. So I thought, I know I'm doing something at the moment. I've pretty much just done the yoke, so I'll pull it out and finish that. So yeah, this is my entry. It's a lovely drop shoulder construction. Followed to the pattern. What size did I do? I think I did I'll look it up, but I think I did a size, the 5th size, I think. I've got a 120 centimetre bust, so I usually knit whatever size is closest to that. I don't tend to pay too much attention to recommended ease, because I know that with my body type, I've got quite a short torso and I'm quite pear-shaped, that anything with positive ease just makes me feel like I'm wearing a potato sack. So so I tend to go for things that are kind of try to be a bit more fitted, but really, really cropped, because I live in, you know, anybody who knows me will tell you I live in dresses and skirts, occasionally leggings. I don't think I own a pair of jeans at the moment. So yeah, all of my stuff I need, all the garments that I make, they need to fit nicely within my wardrobe. So I tend to make things quite cropped. So yeah, whatever size is closest to 120 centimetres, which I think is the 4th or the 5th size for this cardigan. But I'm really, really pleased with it. It's got a drop shoulder construction, and I seem to remember that you start by knitting the back and then pick up for the shoulders, and then go back afterwards and pick up the the sleeves. Also the button band is knitted at the same time as the body, which is really nice. So it's just knit on the same size needle going all the way across. You don't need to faff about with picking up stitches for button bands and all that kind of thing when you finished, which is really nice. So yeah, this one was just for me. Used about 600 grams, I think, of woolly knit, British wool, held double. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Really happy with that. So I'm looking down here because this is where I've got my other bits and pieces that I want to talk about today. So yeah, my next finished object is a pair of socks. So I've always got a pair of socks in my handbag. I always have them for car journeys or going out for dinner. Although my partner, we went out for dinner on Valentine's Day. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day, but it's our anniversary. Yeah, we had a blind date when we met on our anniversary. So we met on a dating app, and we met up, went out for dinner on our anniversary. Of course, it's our anniversary on Valentine's Day. Which at the time seemed like a good idea, but now we have to celebrate our anniversary every year on going out for dinner with lots of other people. But anyway, so I didn't take any knitting out for our anniversary dinner. Oh my goodness. So you'll notice this about me. I do this when I'm teaching as well. I've got a really clear idea in my head of what I want to say, the order that it's going to happen, and the kind of the journey that we're going to be following, the red thread as the Germans would call it. And then that goes out of the window. And I'll just start rambling about something else. But anyway, so this is my next finished object. These are a pair of vanilla socks for me. I always, like I said, have a pair of socks in my handbag. And these ones are a 64 stitch cast on, made on 2.25mm needles. I prefer a 9-inch circular. And these are knit with Homespun House, one of their Advent sock sets, Christmas sock sets. This one was called Christmas Market. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love this yarn. I'd never tried any of the Homespun House ones before. And I really enjoyed knitting with this. It's really soft, very plump. These haven't been blocked yet, so I will do that. If I'm totally honest, I often don't bother blocking socks unless they're a gift, because just wearing them is enough. But yeah, my go-to vanilla sock is kind of a recipe that, a pattern from Kristin Lehrer. I think she's American, although her name is German, so I'm not sure if she's German or American, but her favourite socks pattern. And it's top down. I do a 20 round cuff and then an 80 round total leg, because I wear boots and I like them to poke out over the top. I do a garter heel flap and gusset, and just a normal toe, just reducing to about 28 stitches from 64 to then bind off, so it's nice and rounded. So yeah, I find that fits me really nicely. So that's my go-to, and I'm really happy with those. So yeah, that's that. My next finished object is, okay, right, go back a second. So at the beginning of 2024, beginning of this year, you can probably see some of them up there, but I have a lot of knitting books, well, a fair amount of knitting books, and I love them, and I really enjoy receiving them in the post and flicking through them and imagining what I might do with them, and picturing the wonderful situations that I might find myself taking equally lovely and atmospheric pictures of wearing the finished garments. And then I don't touch them again. They stay up there and they look lovely. Then they just live up there. That's fine. So anyway, one of my thoughts at the beginning of this year was that I would try and knit a lot more from my books. So I grabbed this one. And you probably all know this. Salt and Timber from Lindsay Fowler. It's absolutely gorgeous, really beautiful book from Line or so I've had it pronounced both ways. I think technically laine is a French word that means wool, I think. But I've heard Finnish people pronouncing this publisher as liner. So if anybody's got any thoughts on how to pronounce it properly, I'd love to know, because I don't want to say it wrong if there's a particular way I should be pronouncing it. But anyway, so I pulled this book out because another lovely podcaster who has the channel Bobbles and Berries is running a knit along at the moment with another podcaster whose channel I cannot remember. I'll put it down in the comment in the show notes. They are running a make along to make a set of accessories, and that could be a hat and gloves, or gloves and a scarf, or any combination. So I thought I would knit some items from here. So I've made myself this lovely hat. I think it's called the firewood cap. One moment. Yeah, firewood cap. And I'm really, really, really happy with it. That's the picture there. Really lovely. And I've made this in an interesting yarn, actually. I was at a yarn show in the Netherlands this time last year, I think. And there was a really small stall that had some lovely squishy DK Peruvian Highland wool. I think it was called Holland Creative. And they only had it in about like 8 colours or something, but it was so soft and so squishy, I just had to have some. So I grabbed 2 skeins of it, 2 skeins of DK, 100 grams each. And this feels perfect to me. So it's a really nice squishy hat. Again, hasn't been blocked yet. I will do it when I finish the mittens. So I also decided to make, I suppose they're not technically matching, but I'm making them in the same yarn, which makes them kind of matching, doesn't it? Make the windbound mitts. How gorgeous are they? Really, really lovely. There's a nice little cable detail on the, I'm not really aware of gloves. It does get quite cold here sometimes, but never below like, well, rarely below like -10 in the winter. I don't particularly like wearing gloves. I do go out a lot and I'm waiting on train stations a lot to get to work and things, but I like to have my hands free so that I can use my phone and so on. So yeah, mittens or mitts are a good option for me. So yeah, I finished one of them yesterday. They always look so stupid, don't they, when they've just been made, not blocked. If I put it on, you'll be able to see it better. So there we go. It's one of the mittens. Nice little cable detail on the back. Really, really lovely. Nice rib. And I made the small size, I think. So yeah, really, really happy with that. This cute little stitch marker came in, where is it? Came in a little set from Homespun House again. So my partner really kindly ordered a little gift for me for our anniversary, and it was the Bleak Midwinter Hugo box from Homespun House, and it arrived on our anniversary, which was really, really sweet. But yeah, so anyway, I finished this yesterday, and then cast on the other one. Look at these cute little stitch markers, also from Homespun House. They came in the box. It's so cute. And this is, where did I get this from? Yeah, I have a thing about puffins. This is from Hedgehog Creations. That's right, this is from Hedgehog Creations. And I saw it on, where did I see it? Amy Palco's podcast, I think it was, on The Meaningful Stitch. And she had this bag, and I was like, oh, I have to have that. Or she had a similar one, but there was definitely some puffins in there, and I was like, I have to have that. I have to go and find that. It's puffins. They're just the cutest little birds in the world. I love them. But anyway, so yeah, that's, I suppose, a work in progress. So moving swiftly on to works in progress. There's that. So yeah, hoping to finish those in the next week or so. to go with this as my entry to the make along. But also my partner and I are taking a short trip to Scandinavia in 3 weeks time, I think. We're flying from Dusseldorf to Copenhagen. I'm staying there for a couple of nights and then taking the train to Stockholm, staying there for a couple of nights, then taking the train to Oslo, and then after a couple of days flying back to Dusseldorf. So even though it's in March, I'm pretty sure it's going to be cold still, so I just wanted to take a couple of extra layers, and I figured this will look really cute. I messed my hair up. Yeah, adorable, right? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with those. A really nice colour, really soft. Happy days. So, my other work in progress is a test knit for MJ. Where is it? Here we go. So MJ is I think she's based in the Netherlands, a knitwear designer who I've test knit for before. I made a hat for her. And she produces really lovely, quite simple, but really textured and thoughtful patterns. So she's on Instagram as Ellis Knitwear, and I think she's on Ravelry as Ellis Knitwear as well, but I'll put the details below. But she often designs things for unspun yarn, specifically for Nutiden, for Hunne och Er, which again, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about the pronunciation. One of my loves in knitting is working with really, really special fibres and really, really special materials. And so Nutiden is one of my absolute loves. There's a box back there, that black box, and it's full of Nutiden in various colours and quantities. That's only half of it. But I also have knitted with unspun from Wool and Twine, so Jule up in Hamburg. Or was it Hanover? Again, I'll put it down below. And also Soil Yarn, who was Rain, Cloud and Sage from down in the south of Germany. They make absolutely lovely unspun as well. It's very different. Nutiden is in its own category though. So the item that I'm making in my test knit, this isn't a secret test knit, is a beautiful textured shawl. I cannot tell you how light and airy this is. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a really simple stitch repeat of these mock cables. Can you see that? It's beautiful. And it's created using a double strand of Nutiden. No mohair or anything, just the double strand of Nutiden. It's absolutely lovely. It's going to be really, really fantastically light, especially if I'm traveling or something, but very, very warm. So I'm also looking forward to taking this to Scandinavia on our little trip as well. It's going to be so nice. It's going to be so squishy. It smells so good. It really smells so good. So if you're not familiar with Nutiden and unspun, some people call it pencil roving, some companies call it like pre-yarn, but I apologise because probably most people watching this will already know what it is. But this is what it looks like. It comes in these plates. Oh God, it smells so gorgeous. It smells so gorgeous. But this is the colourway that I'm making the shawl in. This is macadam, I think it's called. All the details are on my Ravelry. I do put pretty good notes. I do keep up to date on Ravelry, so go and check that out for any further details. But if you're not familiar with Nutiden, this is the kind of texture we're talking about for unspun. It looks very delicate, and it is very, very easy to pull apart. So you do need to be careful when you're knitting with this, when you're making with this. But the beauty of it is once you've actually knitted it and you've created a stitch, it becomes so much stronger than because of the sum of its parts. All of the fibres in it are different lengths, with different staple lengths. So once that stitch has been created, the tension is much closer together. You can see, you can really pull that, and that's not going anywhere, that's not coming apart. So you end up with this really lovely, very light, I suppose kind of semi-dense-ish fabric, depending on what your gauge is. And it's just really, really lovely to wear. You'll see from my Ravelry page, I've made quite a few garments over the years using unspun, and quite a few accessories using unspun as well. I really, really enjoy working with it. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, if you haven't tried it, I really, really strongly recommend giving it a go. This mug is from a local designer here in Germany. Oh gosh, what's the name of her studio? It's totally gone out of my head. She's on Instagram, she doesn't sell online. I'll put the details below for you. Oh, the sun's come out as well. Happy days. It's been a horrible overcast day. I really need to go out for a walk. I didn't go out yesterday because the weather was horrible, so my partner and I slobbed on the sofa all day yesterday, knitting, watching movies, and just watching a lot of podcasts, that kind of thing. Yeah, and napping. So I really do need to leave the house at some point today. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm knitting on at the moment. I'm also knitting on a pair of socks as well. But as the person who they're for, because they're a gift, is probably going to be watching it, I probably won't show those to you. I'll probably show them to you after they've been gifted. So yes. Okay, so what else am I going to be talking about today? Yeah. I suppose my future knitting plans. There's a couple of different things. Firstly, as I mentioned, I got that box of goodies from Homespun House at the beginning of the week, middle of the week. And in that box was this gorgeous DK sock yarn. How nice is that? Really, really lovely. Really lovely colours in there. So I watched another podcast, Knit Sip Happy, Nancy Wheeler, who designs gorgeous socks. So yesterday I treated myself to one of her patterns, her Njord socks. Njord? Looks like it should be Njord. It looks like it needs a ny sound at the beginning there. Please, again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You see these things written down, you don't really hear them being said. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to skein this up later, cake this up later, sorry, and cast those on and knit myself a nice pair of DK socks. The colours in this is just gorgeous. It's like on the other ones that she's done. It's really, really strong, saturated colours, but with really interesting little dabs of unexpected tones in there. You see in there, you've got bits of yellow in there. Really lovely. Really lovely, sorry. And then here, totally unexpected, you've got like these bits of green. Like really acidy, lemony. Really lovely, very unexpected, very nice. But yeah, it doesn't actually say on this if it's a DK weight, but it feels like a DK. So I'm going to go for it with a pair of DK socks. Looking forward to knitting those. The other thing that I'm going to be starting to knit on is a shawl for my partner. But where is the yarn? So, found it. Oh, I've messed up my camera setup a bit there as well. Okay, there we go. Right, so I've just started going to a local knitting group, which is fantastic to found a group near to me. And it's also fantastic because I have to speak German. Well, I don't have to, but I speak German when I go there. Before I moved here, I spoke about 3 words of German, all of which were mispronounced. And since being here, it's been a journey, shall we say, to be able to have a conversation in German. I get very frustrated because I can't speak it well enough to properly express myself and to completely follow what's going on. But you know, it's getting there. It's a work in progress. There we go. But anyway, I go to a knit night on Fridays. And last week when I was going, I was going to get the train to the knit night, and I got to the train station, and all of the little local trains for some reason have been cancelled for about 2 hours, probably some sort of signalling problem or whatever. So I called my partner and I said, you know, you're on your way home. Would you mind dropping me off at the knit night? So he dropped me off, but then ended up staying. And because he was staying, he ended up browsing around all of the yarn and having a good look around. The shop is called Die Geschenkwerkstatt, and it's a really lovely shop. Iris, the owner, has got a fantastic selection of all sorts of goodies in there. I'll probably give you a little tour around there sometime. Just to show you around, because if you're in the area, I definitely recommend it. Iris is lovely, and she has, like I said, a really good selection. But anyway, my partner, who is very knit-worthy, and I knit lots of jumpers and hats and things for, requested a shawl, which surprised me somewhat because I didn't think it would be kind of his thing. But I knit the Stephen West botanic shawl for myself last year, and he really liked it, so he wants one for himself, so he chose himself some yarn for it. And if you're familiar with the pattern, it's mosaic knitting. I'll put a picture up here. 2 colours held together. It looks very complicated, but it's not. It's a nice knit actually. So he's chosen this as the contrast colour. And this is Jawoll superwash, which is hilarious. Jawoll literally, it's not spelled like that. It means like, yes, definitely, or indubitably, or something like that. But they made a little pun, like Jawoll, because Woll is this wool in German. But I think it's vaguely amusing. But anyway, but this is actually produced locally because this is Lang Yarns and it's made in Korschenbroich, which is where I go to my knit night. The factory isn't actually there. I think it's in Italy, but the headquarters is there. So it's nice that it's kind of a local yarn. But this is a sock yarn, and it's 210 meters per 50 grams. So a nice little sock yarn. So I've got 3 of those to hold as the sort of the main colour, and then this as the contrast, sort of a graduated barber pole. So that'll look really nice together, I think. So he's got a dark grey wool coat that he wears for work and things. So so he's hoping that'll go with that. So this is Scheepjes, which is I think a Dutch brand. And it is 70% merino superwash and 30% polyamide. I have to admit, I don't often knit with superwash yarns like this, but my partner does not like rustic yarn. Like this British wool, for me, this is absolutely fine. I can wear it next to my skin, it's no problem at all. But he's not a fan if it's going to be, you know, round touching skin and things, so he tends to gravitate towards the softer merinos and superwash yarns. So yeah, so I'll be casting that on in the next few days, I think, for him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that actually. It's a really nice pattern. I strongly recommend it if you haven't knitted one of Stephen West's patterns, because if you're new to shawl making as well, he does these fantastic, very short, very accessible tutorials to get you started. For instance, that one is, I think, started off with a tab, and then you pick up the stitches from a small garter tab or an I-cord tab, I think. and then the shawl grows from that point. But Stephen provides tutorials for every step of that. I think there is a whole video tutorial series for that shawl, in fact, on YouTube, if shawl knitting is new for you, or you want to try something a bit different. So yeah, that's that. What else am I doing at the moment? So that's pretty much all of the knitting content that I'm going to talk about. The final thing that I want to mention is spinning. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this, I am really keen to get into spinning. There are two reasons for that. One, I have itchy fingers. As soon as I've learned one thing, I'd have to learn the next thing and the next thing. And in my head, one day I've got a fibre studio where I go and source unprocessed fleeces from farms, and I do everything from that point onwards to make that into usable yarn and then some sort of garment or accessory. That's how it will work in my head. And there will be looms and spinning wheels and drum carders and all sorts of goodies. That's never going to happen, but you know, it's fun to think about it. So the easiest way to start going down that road is to bring a drop spindle into the house. So I apologise for the crinkling. So I have treated myself to I think it's Kromski, is that how you say it? Yeah, Kromski. Polish drop spindle. And yeah, I'm going to, so I'm originally from Wales and my family still lives there. And I'm going to go back to Wales in April so that I can go to Wonderwool, the yarn festival up in mid Wales with my mum, which will be really nice. So my mum and I were chatting about it. We decided we both wanted to learn how to drop spindle. So she very kindly booked us both onto a workshop that we're going to go to. And we need to take along a spindle to it. So I've ordered this, and as I'm only taking hand luggage with me, I've also ordered an identical one to be delivered to my mum as well. So I don't have to take this in hand luggage because I don't know what airport security will make of that. But yeah, anyway, so I've got 2 drop spindles. And just to get me practicing a little bit, I also ordered from the same place I got this from a selection of different European sheep fibres. I'm so sorry. I'll play some music so you can't hear the Okay. So I've got all these lovely little bumps of fibre, all from different sheep breeds. And to be honest, it's terrifying. It's so beautiful, but so terrifying. So this one is apparently Coburger Fuchs, which means Coburger Fox, I think. So, which must be a German sheep breed, I suppose. But it's really gorgeous. This one doesn't smell very sheepy, but it's really, really lovely. So I've got, I think there's 250 grams of different fibres in that. Oh my goodness, I have just touched rambouillet for the first time. I cannot. One second, I'm so sorry. Again, rusty. When I got this out for the first time, I couldn't get over how soft this was. It feels like nothing I've ever felt before. I mean, I watch loads of other podcasters and some of them are spinners. Like I watch a lot of Andrea Marrett and she's always mentioning how amazingly soft and beautiful rambouillet is, and I thought, oh, yarn, you know, woolers, and there are, but this it is on another level. If I can learn how to spin with this, I can see great things in my future. So, because this supplier sells, you can like all of these different fibres then in large quantities for spinning up. I mean, as my partner pointed out, it's going to take me a while to make a jumper using this, but you know, it's doable, totally doable. So, so yeah, that's the next thing. So, yeah, that's all the fibre content. I suppose the last thing I want to say is that I live in a really nice central point in northern-ish Europe where there are lots of things going on around us, and a fair amount of fibre festivals and opportunities for going here, there and everywhere for work and whatnot. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to take you around with me on some of those trips. Like I mentioned, next month we're going to be going to some Scandinavian cities. In April, I'm going to be going to a yarn festival in Wales with my mum. As I mentioned, I'm really looking forward to that. So hopefully I can take you along to that too. And then in May, I'll be going to Amsterdam for a few days for my partner's work. So I usually go along with him for that. And I hope to show you around sort of some of the local knitting shops and my local knit night and so on as well, because one of the things I really get out of watching podcasts from different producers and different content makers all over the world is not only a fantastic company, which is so valuable to me. When I'm not teaching, I do spend a fair amount of time on my own, you know, listening to and watching podcast things, which is brilliant. But the company is invaluable. Yeah, but I also really enjoy being exposed to different yarn producers, different ways of knitting, different ways of creating, different ideas for patterns, all sorts of different things. So I'm really hoping to be able to share some of that from my little corner of the world as well. And yeah, so anyway, as I said, this is the first episode, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll produce one every month or so, or if it's more popular, maybe more often, if I've got anything to show you. Yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer you. Yeah, I really hope to see you again at some point, and